It is definitely an M3 door. Should have done that from the start, but I was lazy. Just had another big package rock up. You might be able to tell what it is just by the shape of it. We're running out of M3 parts that I need to find, and this was a big piece. So thank you very much, Matt Vaught, for putting so much effort into getting it here. He put it on a pallet. They didn't want to send it that way. Bought some boxes, packed it up, and then this was actually cheaper to do it or send it this way. So he sent me money back, which is sick. This was difficult to find. An M3 right-hand side door. So outside of attaching the rear bumper, this is kind of like the last M3 piece we need for the car. It is rough paint, but that is all right. So it didn't come with glass. Doesn't really look like there are any dents on it, but the paint is really rough. That is sick. Seals are still on there. The wiring harness is still in there. Everything else looks really good. And it's got the intrusion bar. So in one of my previous episodes, I said I had to get a door from America because the American doors have intrusion bars. So there is a bar running along the back of this door that for me to clear engineering, I have to have that bar. I wasn't able to get a European door. I might give it a sand and maybe get it primed first because some of this paint is like bubbling quite badly. Howdy, I'm Office Lewis, and Workshop Lewis forgot to film something. I think it's about time we did another giveaway. So for this one, we're doing the flag, yeah? If you want one of these flags sent to you, I'll send it anywhere in the world, I'll pay for shipping. If you're gonna leave a comment, start it with the word flag, and we'll draw it in the next episode and I'll get a flag out to you. I'd also like to say, if you've watched multiple episodes, can you do me a favor and hit the like button? If we can get 500 likes in this episode within the first, say, 3 days, I'll do another giveaway in the next episode as well. Some of you also may have noticed that Workshop Lewis has started doing some streams every now and then. It's going to be around Monday morning my time, which is around, say, like 5:30 New York, 8:30 California. And I'll also be doing a Friday afternoon one my time, which I don't know what time that is for New York and California, I'm sorry. Hopefully with those 2 times and a little bit of consistency, people can work out what they're doing and hopefully join me for one of the streams. No, not me, Workshop Lewis. We're different people. Back to Workshop Lewis. The paint on this door is kind of horrible, and I want to make sure that there isn't any bog or any unknown damage in the door before I put it on. So I think I need to take the handle off, maybe take the lock out, and then just chuck some paint stripper on there and strip it back to bare metal because it's like a rusty in the corner, and I just want to see what I'm starting with straight away before we get too deep and I need to find another door. So strip it back, strip it off, strip. So I've scratched it up, could probably put more in there, but we want to be able to get the paint stripper under the paint. Scratching it up just allows it to get under a little bit easier. And I mean, I don't know how many layers of paint there are. I reckon we're probably going to need to do this a couple of times. I've masked up the top. I don't want to get paint stripper on everything. I'll strip the face because it's real bad. I'll have a look on the inside. I don't think I need to strip all of that back to bare metal, but let's throw some paint stripper on. I'm using cam strip, and normally this is like yellowy green. Mine has gone black. And I think that's because I didn't put the lid on properly. So I'm going to use it, but it might not work as well. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It either strips the paint off or it doesn't. You can hear it bubbling again. You can probably also hear the chainsaw in the background, so you might not be able to hear the bubbling too well. Let's give that a second. Yep. Yeah, that's only stripping the top layer of paint. There's still primer underneath that. So this is going to take a couple of coats, but we'll get it down to bare metal, give it a good sand, and then we can re-prime it. Woo. It's doing a pretty good job now. There's a dent, I think, right here that is probably the only concerning thing I've found so far. There's a VIN sticker right here, so I think it was originally black. We're now on to round 4 of the paint stripper, and it is still really thick in some spots. Each layer seems to be getting like stripped away a little bit quicker. I think there is a bit of like really well primed, that grey that came through on the last scraping. I think that's going to be a bit of a pain to get rid of, but everything else seems to be coming off pretty quickly. So, positives. It is definitely an M3 door. I didn't think I'd ordered an E31. I didn't think Matt would do that to me. Now that we've got the majority of the paint stripped off, I'm just gonna buzz over it with some 80 grit and take it down to bare metal. There are a couple of little dents here and there, but as a whole, the door skin's in really good condition, and yeah, I'm real happy with it. All right, I should have done it earlier, but I'm gonna need to do it either way. I need to take out the handle mechanism and the lock mechanism just so I can clean it all up. Gonna leave it like this overnight, and I'm starting to think there's probably just a little bit of rust in between the seams, so we're gonna need to treat that. There are some bits here and there that are rusty, but overall it's pretty good. I think it was left in a puddle of water for a little while because there is a water line on the inside of the door. Outside of that, really good condition. To remove the locking mechanism, I put my dang screwdriver away. Give me a second. Screwdriver. To remove the locking mechanism, there is a little slide clip. Little clip. The little plastic bit on the outside slides off, and then you wiggle the lock out from the front. And then for the handle mechanism, looks like a 10 mil. I think they're lock nuts, nylock nuts, maybe. Yep, nylock. There you go. Now, that is all clear. I'm going to put those nuts back on there because 100% I will lose those. Oh, no, I'm going to take that. There's a little plate that slides out as well. Put that back on. And now we can sand everything on the outside, and I should have done that from the start, but I was lazy. I don't know if I'm going to need to keep that. I don't have the key for it. None of my other locks will match it. I don't even know what key I'm going to be using. And now I can give all of this a good proper sand, clean the rest of the paint off of it, and then we'll work out what we're going to do with the rust on the bottom. There's just a couple of spots, but it's not too bad. And then we can get it painted. Sook. There is so much paint in here. I think it's been painted at least 7 times. Like primer, black, clear, primer, black, clear, 7 times. And it's almost like that Fordite, where you can just, you sand it back and you just see so many layers of paint. It looks like it was all black, but yeah, it's all black, which is good, I guess. I think I might just see if I can get a wire wheel and maybe wire wheel some of this away, just because of the way it's in the corner and kind of tricky to get to. Let's give that a go. It's not perfect. The rust spots down the bottom are a little bit of a shame. So the next step, we've got to flip it over. I've got to wire wheel all the seam sealer on the underside. See how bad the rust is. I'm hoping I can chuck some rust converter in the seam and it can sink in and kind of neutralize the rust. But we kind of just need to go on a little bit of an explore and see how bad the rust is. I would prefer to not panel any part of this, but let's have a look. Keep your fingers crossed. So these are the rust spots. You can just see it's a little bit like red, and a couple more just as you move along the bottom of the door. This one isn't too bad, but let's strip it back and see what we're dealing with. I think it's probably a little bit rustier than I was hoping, or than what I was thinking. There is rust, and I kind of need to see if the skin, so the skin folds around the inner door. I need to see if the inner door panel that is like wedged in there is rusting out, which sucks because we've got a nice clean line. And I'm not very experienced at this, and I don't want to destroy the door. I'm not going to destroy the door, but like, I don't want to add way more work in because I don't know what I'm doing. I think this might be a bit of a case of taking it to Eden and seeing, or actually, I could go next door to the crash shop. What? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have a chat with one of the guys from next door in the crash shop, see what he seems to think, see if I do need to just cut a strip the whole way along and like weld the thing in the whole way along, which is gonna suck, but maybe I need to do that. I'll be back. All right, bit of a change of scenery. I'm in outside in the sun. I'm in the crash shop that's next door. I had a chat with one of the blokes in there, and he said that you can open the door of a brand new car and you can already have more rust than what's going on in here. If I pull this seam back, I'm never gonna get it perfect. That's it. This is still in really good condition, considering it's a 36-year-old door. He's given me a sandblaster. I'm gonna sandblast all of the rust off on this side. I'm gonna give it a vacuum on the inside and then drop some rust converter in and then prime the outside, make sure that it's all nice and clean on the inside, maybe seal it back up. My rust repair abilities aren't amazing, and I think I would only make it worse. So I've got all of my protective. Let's sandblast it. I put my safety glasses on and instantly got something in them. I'm gonna try these. If I get something in my eye again, I'm gonna go get my welding mask. Sick. I'm gonna go wash my eye out now. Looks pretty good. So Off camera, I did a pass with 150 grit on the orbital and then a pass with Scotch-Brite on the orbital, just to make sure that all of the primer was off and we're looking nice and neat. So I've got some deoxidine here. Make it so it won't flash rust while we're waiting for Eden to give it a coat of primer. Get it in some primer. There are some dents around the place that I'll sort them out later on. I don't want this to start getting rusty, so get the paint on, then worry about it. Scotch-Brite, deoxidine, 50-50 mix with water. All rubbed in. I definitely mixed up way too much. I'm gonna wipe it off with a damp rag, clean the damp rag, wipe it off. Keep doing that a couple of times. Once I think it's all mostly kind of been taken off, I'll get a fresh damp rag, wipe it off one last time, and then it's good. Now, if you do this step correctly, it'll give you a couple of weeks at the very least of rust protection. You do want to get it painted as soon as you can. It just means that now that it can go to Eden, sit around for a couple of days and it's not just going to flash rust. I do want to say thank you to Matt Vaught again. So the subscriber that's been sending me a bunch of M3 bits, the side skirt, the body kit. I talk to him fairly regularly. He asks me how I'm going. He knew I needed a door. He tagged me in a post with Matt Vaught on like s14.net on Facebook. I contacted Matt and asked him if he would send it to Australia first of all, and he was like, yeah, sure. Sent him a picture of the car, and he was like, yeah, I know the car. I've watched a couple of videos. And kind of as soon as he said that, I was like, okay, sick, I got the door. There is always that nervousness when you're sending a large sum of money overseas and buying something online. Luckily, I didn't get scammed this time, which is terrific. I do want to offer a little bit of advice on buying things online. Now, every time I've ordered something online, I request the item next to an item of cutlery. You could do an item of fruit, a vegetable, whatever. If the person goes, what the hell are you talking about? You go, well, look, I just want to make sure you've got the item. Take a picture next to a knife. If they don't respond, you probably got out of a scam. If they do respond, I'm working at 100% strike rate for not getting scammed right now. I'll put a couple of photos of other items that I've bought. It's always funny seeing what people do. This, I believe, is the last big M3 panel we need. And given that I originally thought getting two doors would probably cost like $5,000 to $6,000, with this door and the other M3 door, we're sitting at $3,300. Which is still a lot for doors. My VZ Ute was $2,500, so that whole car was less than this door. I think I'm going to take this door to Eden's, get it sprayed, and work out what I'm going to do next. I think we're doing brakes next.